Hello, everyone. Welcome to Land Office Hours with Dr. Dirt. My name is Dr. Sam, and today we talk about all sorts of different things. We go through a subdivide that was screened by AI, and we see if that is actually accurate, which is super interesting. We talk about zoning and counties, how to talk to counties, how to establish relationships with on-market agents and off-market. We talk about various different things within the land space that will really allow you to kind of take the next steps. And of course, if you're interested at the very, very, very end, we talk about getting into an orbit program or essentially being able to call leads. So if you guys are interested in calling leads and setting up appointments, we are more than happy to talk and help you get your first land deal. So, welcome to another Land Office Hours. Enjoy. What's up?
Hey, Sam.
Howdy, howdy, everyone. Dean, you finally made
Sam.
it, man.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good.
Glad you can make it today.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to check this out.
Finally got in. I love it. Love it. I love it. Silvio, how are you doing today?
Doing well, my friend.
Good.
I submitted that land to you. I don't know if you saw it.
All I saw, actually, thank you for reminding me. So
Yeah.
when I went in there, all I saw was your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't, yeah, I wasn't sure. I just put my name on it. Because when I was submitting, I hadn't checked with my friend, but he's okay. I
Okay.
can share with you his contact information if you want to call him directly or anything.
Sure.
But I also have access. I looked at the file. And he shared with me a Dropbox a while ago that has all the
Okay.
documents. So I have
Awesome.
access to all of them as well.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wasn't sure exactly what was all needed there, and that was actually on my list of things to do today was to contact you and figure out what we got here. It's the 7.87 acre in Florida, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Cool, cool. I will I will check that out later on today and see what we can do.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, thanks for sending that over. That should be good. I'll check it out and give feedback, and we will rock and roll from there.
All right.
Cool. Do you have any questions, Silvio? Dean, Cynthia is here. Hey, Cynthia. I don't know if you're
Hi,
able
Dr.
to.
Sam. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. All
You
right.
know, the last week I was with Pace for the RV challenge. That's why I didn't show
Mhm.
up. I couldn't
Ah,
come.
gotcha.
And then
All right.
and then I missed the 9 o'clock on Fridays because I have a chiropractor appointment.
All good. You're back.
Yes, I'm
Thanks for
back.
coming back.
I have some work. I have some land for you. I did a workup on.
Okay. Do you want to go over those now, or you want to go over them at a
Well,
later
I
date?
wanted to
You tell
ask
me.
you, it's the land is let me go in and I can tell you a little about it. Um, Wait a second. It's not showing up. What happened? Huh. Well, it's not showing up in my file. Let me try to find it.
Okay. That's all right. Whenever you find it, just let us know and we'll take a peek at it.
Let's see.
Awesome.
Okay. Um,
You find it?
yes, I did.
Okay.
So, the property is in Arkansas.
Okay.
And the
Awesome.
acquisition cost is 1,290,000,
Okay.
36 acres on the lake.
Okay.
Um, and it's been on the market for 89 days.
All right.
And it's divisible. It can be divided. It
Okay.
has,
Great.
let me send you, do you want me to just drop it in the chat or do you want me
Yeah.
to email it?
Whatever works for you. If it's
Okay.
cool, if you're cool dropping it in the chat, that's probably the easiest because then I can just copy and paste.
Okay.
That's cool with you.
Well, it's a lot. I had a whole workup done on it.
Nice.
Uh, one second. I'll email it because it's about 10 pages or something, maybe.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, I had a whole workup on the subdividing and the price.
Okay.
Uh, so let me get to that.
Awesome.
I have a new way of presenting now.
There we go. Did you do all that or did you
I
run it through AI or how did you
I,
do
I
all that?
ran it I ran it through AI,
Awesome.
but I had all the questions. I had to do all the questions. I asked all the questions, and
Mm-hmm.
then let's see. So where do I send it at?
I can send you my email here.
Is
I'll put
it
it in the
is it
chat.
Dr. Dirt?
No, send it over to blueoxlandco@gmail.com.
Okay.
Send it over there.
Okay, one second.
I just dropped it in the chat if that's a little bit easier for you.
Okay, one sec.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh, man, we got a full house tonight. Jeff and Camilla, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Let's see.
There she is. There he is.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Cynthia, will you work on that? Does
Yeah.
anyone else have any questions? Properties they want to comp, questions they have about land,
What's your buy
subdividing.
box, Sam?
What's my buy box? Ooh, I love this question. Uh, so to put it really, really simply, pretty much anything over an acre is ideal. I'll look at any state. My main markets are North Carolina and Tennessee, as well as Minnesota and Wisconsin, just because I can drive to Minnesota and Wisconsin. I live in Minnesota and then can drive to Wisconsin. I'll also take a look at stuff in Iowa as well. So anywhere in the upper Midwest there around me, I'll definitely take a look at and actually go physically drive to. Otherwise, then most of my work really goes into Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, and Central North Carolina. So I'll kind of work all in that strip. Um, However, though, I actually just met a gentleman who wants to he's an agent, and this is also too maybe like the importance of becoming friends with agents. Um, he has access to mobile homes. He is a mobile home park or mobile home manufacturer dealer. And so he can get them for pretty much at cost. He doesn't know how to acquire the land piece of it, but he knows how to put a mobile home piece or a mobile home on a piece of land. And so also too actively looking in Florida as well, because that's where he is, right around the Tampa area. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, kind of a newer connection there, but really speaks to like why it's so important to be friends with be friends with a lot of agents, whether that's land agents or, in this case, I met this guy actually through a mobile or through an RV park that I actually put an LOI in for. And so met him, and he normally doesn't do RV parks, but he knows the seller. He's been good friends with the seller for a long time, and he mainly focuses on brokering mobile home parks. And so that's his connection into mobile homes. And I told him I'd do land as well. And one thing led to a next, and he's like, if I find land, will you, and you, like, do you know how to set everything up so then it's good for a house? Then we can just plop a house on. I'll take care of the house and the land and all the agent fees and all that stuff. And I'll even find sellers. I just don't know I don't know all the hoops to jump through for how to get the land ready for the mobile home. And I was like, absolutely, I will. You're gonna
Wow.
do all my hard work. You're gonna go there, be boots on the ground, and source the houses, source a buyer. Like you're gonna list it for me. Like, yeah, 100% I'll work with you.
Yeah,
Um,
really.
yeah.
Well,
So
I sent it, the email.
okay,
Mhm.
awesome. I'll take a look at it. And so anyways, that's kind of where like I know my buy box is really broad in general. However, there's lots of different opportunities and different people will have different um, things that they will bring to me. And so I want to make sure that I'm not like totally discarding, a lead that could be. And if I don't know, I will 100% say, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is your person for it. Like for example, I had a lead come in. It was a big chunk of Texas land, and it was a ways out, but it was in the path of progress. And I come to find out that there is a highway that is going to be running through really close to it or kind of through like the corner of it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about that, about those type of highway projects. However, I do have two friends who that's all that they do. And so I then will send them, I'll say, hey, you should really talk to this person instead because they are the ones who really specialize in this. So if I don't know or if I don't have an answer for you, I'll be straight up and answer it. But in general, my buy box, anything over an acre, I'll certainly take a look at. I'm happy to comp land wherever and then be able to make those connections in order to make a deal go through.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Well, things that I really like are parcels where I can potentially split them up and subdivide them. So that's the value add component of it. The challenging piece with land is that a lot of people, and I've run into this quite a bit, is that a lot of people will find things that are on market and they'll just send me the link to it on market, but there's no chance of like value add. So for example, right, it's like think about, if you have a house, and I was actually talking to another guy in the land business about this, and he was like, "Man, I'm having the same problem." So what people will do is they'll just say, "Oh, this land looks really pretty, really beautiful. Can you buy it?" Well, I mean, yeah, but just because a house looks really beautiful, should a investor buy that house? Not necessarily, right? Normally, as an investor, you're there, right? Because it's not a charity, you need to be able to pay the bills and like that's how you make a living. And so normally there has to be some sort of value add component if it's already on market, right? You wouldn't go and buy a house at market value or slightly below market value just to turn around and resell it at market value, right? There's just
Mhm.
you'll lose money on it, right? People lose
Yeah.
money on it all the time when they buy a house and then move in 2 years, right? Like people lose money all the time on a house. So looking at land is the same way, right? Fixer and flippers for houses, right? They want ugly houses. They want houses that are beat up and banged up because they can come in there, add a little bit of money, create more value, and then be able to sell them for a higher retail price. Land is oftentimes a lot of the same way. So what I'm looking for is I'm really looking for land where I can add value. And
Mhm.
people are like, well, how can you add value to land? Well, things like what we talked about, like a subdivide is a super easy way to like add value, where essentially you're cutting the parcels up or you're cutting the one parcel up into more affordable for multiple people. And that can also to drive the price up because price per acre will tend to increase as the acreage gets smaller. So value add something like that. Another piece of value add too is if there's a house on large acreage and it has a lot of road frontage, you can actually chop that house out and then chop up the rest of the land and potentially sell it like that. So that's another way. That's called survey hacking. So that's another way. And then you can sell the house as the house, just with a smaller acreage. And then obviously put the land up for sale as well. So that's another way to potentially like add value. Um,
Do you look
yeah.
at changing zoning, Sam? Like, going from like an agriculture to commercial or something like that?
Yeah. So changes in zoning are more challenging. That's a good
Hmm.
question. Changes in zoning are definitely more challenging. I'll give you a great example with like another additional value add, right? Another additional value add is kind of like what I was talking about with what's called land home package, right? So you buy a piece of land, you add a home to it, and now all of a sudden you have land and home combined, and now all of a sudden it goes for a higher value, right? Because you already did all the hard work that that agent or broker doesn't want to do, right? He doesn't know how to prep the land and get it all ready and go through zoning and all that fun stuff, right? So
Mm.
that's another example of like value add, but also too when you start talking about like the specifics of changing zoning, especially from going from like agricultural land to residential is a little bit easier, but going from agricultural land to commercial land or residential to commercial tends to be a little bit harder. And the main reason being is because once you zone it for commercial, now all of a sudden you're allowing Walmart or Target or larger corporations or McDonald's or Starbucks or name your company, right? Now all of a sudden they can put that right there, right? And so zoning for commercial and changing it from residential to commercial is pretty challenging, and vice versa, changing it from commercial to residential also
Mm.
can be really challenging. Honestly, it depends a lot on the city and what the city like wants to do.
With their master plan, they're planning on doing.
Exactly, exactly. And some are much more stringent of what they do, and others are like loosey goosey. Yeah, sure, that sounds good. Fine, check, right, and approve it. And some are like, no, absolutely not. This was zoned for this, and this our plan is to do X, Y, Z. There's no chance you can do that, right? So there are a lot of challenges with getting something rezoned. A lot of people will either totally like just disregard it because it is a lot of brain damage. It's a lot of work, and sometimes that goes absolutely nowhere. And so to be able to do that, plus also as an investor, you have to protect yourself, right? As an investor, you have to protect yourself in terms of like what you should like, okay, I'm gonna spend all this money, spend all this time, energy, effort, and now I got it rezoned from agricultural to commercial, right? Ideally, you would do that because it drives the value up of the land, right? Now you got to make sure that you protect yourself, and now that that seller can't get out of that contract, right?
Mm.
Because now all of a sudden you went from maybe $5,000 an acre to now it's worth 50,000 an acre, right? Like that's a huge value add. And now you have 10 acres. You went from 50,000 to was it
500.
500,000? Thank you. Math is hard this morning, this afternoon. Right? So, you essentially 10x'd what their value is worth, right? You need to be able to hold on to that and have that, right? So some people will buy the land and then do that, but that's taking a risk.
Yeah,
Some
that's
people
big.
will do it like and have it contractual, hey, I'll put this money into it. If we get it through, then like we will close on it. So they'll kind of do that version of it as well. So it just kind of depends on your appetite for rezoning. Camilla, did you have a question about that?
Yeah, I was wondering because you mentioned this before with like value add zoning prep, like land prep. You kind of talked about like where you have to go and find all the rules for this or allowances. Is there like a database for that? Like where you go, you could put in a county and say what has been done before, what's the precedent, or is it more like hunt and peck to find like what's been done, what's allowed? Because you mentioned that one of the times you said something about like to develop the land. Now this was on the minor, you knew there were only like survey and soil, but on the major, you were like you would have to kind of go through a few more steps. But is there like a database for that per county, or do you like hunt and peck to find what's allowed?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yes. Yes is your answer. Yes. Um, so yes. So it is it's highly dependent, right, on the county. So some counties are super buttoned up and have like very strict rules, right? The major metropolitan counties will have like very strict set rules, right? Because there's been so much development. The more rural counties will be a little bit more like, yeah, like we have this rule, but you can apply for like a variance on it, or you can apply for, to get around it or whatever, an exemption, whatever that might be. And so there should be a database, and by that it should be on the county website. That should be county record and county like public information on the county. You can use AI such as ChatGPT or Claude to try and help you like get those rules. I like to use that as my preliminary, right? So I'll look that up and then I'll tell it to source all my links or to like cite all the links of where that is. So then I can just click on them and I will read it myself as well to make sure that Claude didn't interpret it wrong. It's getting pretty good now. AI is getting pretty good. Normally it doesn't interpret it wrong. However, it can. So then you can reread that. And then what I'll do is I will call the county, confirm those rules, have a conversation back and forth with planning and zoning committee. And then once I have that, I will ask them for it in writing. Hey, I'm looking at this parcel. I'd love to get it rezoned. What are the next steps that I need to do in order to get this parcel rezoned? And I will call them, I'll ask them that, and I'll say, great, okay, so here's what I think I heard, right? And then at the end of my conversation, I'll say, hey, great, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate all this good info. Can I get your email so I can email you this to make sure I'm 100% clear on it? And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like you're crazy. Like we just said yes, right? They're like, okay, whatever, buddy. You're crazy. I want it in writing because my notes will get scattered somewhere, right? Something will happen. I want it in writing so I can refer back to it over and over and over again. And so when you start looking at zoning and planning and like where that info should be, it should be public record, but not every county, especially if you get into the rural stuff, not every county will have that written in there because they might not have run into that yet, if that makes sense, right? That specific. Like, I'll give you another great example. My Indiana subdivide that I'm doing almost died. I mean, I almost died like 20 times, but like it almost died because they were planning on having the first 285 feet off of the main state highway road. That's a 55-mile-per-hour road. They were having that first 285 feet was supposed to be commercial. So there was a rule, they had a city committee, and they planned, hey, the first 285 feet on either side of this road, north and south side of the road, are going to be zone commercial. They voted on it, they approved it, but they never recorded it. So when I went there and when I went and called, they're like, oh yeah, this is zone commercial. And so then, started asking more and more questions. And then eventually somebody else in the office, the second lady, heard me asking all these questions and the lady going, I don't know, I don't know. And then the other lady came over and then started figuring out like what's all going on here. Well, what would be the process for me to zone it from commercial back to residential, or do I need it commercial, or how can I split it up this way? Okay, I need 285 feet. Then does that mean I can split the parcel other ways and all XYZ, right? So I was running into all these different questions that they've never heard of before. The second lady came in and was like, something's off here. Right? She's like, something's weird here. And so she went and I emailed them my summary of like, hey, here's how I need to rezone it. And then when I emailed them back, then they said, actually, it was supposed to be commercial, but it was never recorded, so it's actually residential. And I'm like, yes, yes. Because that means that I don't have to go through the rezoning process. And that means that and then actually she even found out too that it was called R1. So there's R1, which is residential one, and then they have R1A, which is residential one ag. Essentially, the biggest difference between the two is that you have a certain number of buildings that are allowed on your property, right? Like you can't put a giant like 300 by 100 like pole barn on your 1 acre parcel, right? It'll take up like the whole thing, right? And so I thought that it was R1A, which is more strict, but it's actually R1. So they gave me the wrong zoning originally, and they told me it was commercial. And so when I emailed them back to confirm all that, then they dug in deeper and found out that no, it actually isn't commercial and it isn't R1A, it's just R1. And so I'm like, double win. Don't have to go through the rezoning process and I get R1, which is just a little bit more beneficial. It's a little bit more sought after in the area, if that makes sense. Because it doesn't have the restrictions on number of buildings, right? So you can have like 4 or 5 buildings on a 5 acre parcel instead of
Yeah.
two.
Allows for more density. That's awesome.
Yeah, so not necessarily housing density, but building density
Right.
in this particular area, right? So it allows like you can have 2 pole barns if you want. You can have chickens on it if you want, right? Like you can do that, but it's a little bit more, not as many rules in R1A or R1 versus R1A. Yep. Does that kind of answer your question, Camilla?
Yeah. I'm just trying to like piece it all together, like how people actually go where I know there's a lot of obstacles, but where people go get their questions answered, but then kind of how you hit that kind of double whammy, but then it worked out in your favor. So I just basically it sounds like knowing the county, maybe knowing someone out the county, and then kind of having that conversation, like what's in play and what's not in play, and then hoping that it works out like in your favor. So
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure those 2 ladies at the county are probably so sick of me because I've called them like 20 times asking about things between like that and like phone tag and everything else in between. I'm sure they're so sick of me. However, I'm getting all the answers that I need in order to make sure that like everything is going through, right? I'm spending money on soil tests and a survey, right? Like I want to make sure everything is going to go through, right? I got it pre-approved, right? Pre-approved
yeah.
for the subdivide, right? So like spending all that time, energy, effort on the front end will hopefully save me on the back end of having to redo things, spend more money into it, and or spending money and then it wouldn't go through, right?
Right.
So there is some of that still. It is still pre-approved, meaning that it checks all the boxes. Now it's just a matter of going in front of the committee board and saying, hey, this is what I want to do, kind of
And then
thing.
you have to put together a report to do that. Do you comment like is there like some kind of, I don't know, form or template you follow? Like go before the board and you're like you're not just talking, obviously you're questioning or you have something you're presenting or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. And that's kind of like the next hurdle that I'm conquering now and trying to figure out now is I've never gone out up in front of this board, front of a board before,
Okay.
right? And
Probably on
sitting and
YouTube.
playing.
Probably could find a video of them on YouTube, I would say. Because I've seen
Yeah,
live or whatever and they're interesting.
Yeah, right. And so a lot of the stuff that you see is more like community hearings, right? Where, people can also, voice their opinion or whatever it may be. And so where the community, excuse me, can versus the committee is where I'm going up against. So it'll be like myself and like the 5, 10 other people who have like similar things who are trying to like get them through. And so in this instance, I'm going to do a little bit of research, prepare all the documents that I believe I will need for that, and then run through some potential questions of what they might ask me and why they might ask me it, and kind of where we're going on it. In this case, too, I also, because it was on market, this is actually on market can be a pro and a con, right? In this case, it was a pro because the gentleman who is the agent on it said that he would help me get it through. He was on the committee previously because he's from there. He's been on the committee. He said he was on the committee for like 15, 17 years or something like that. And so he knows what to say, what to do, where to go, all that stuff. So essentially, I'm there because he said I need to be there, and also too, I want to make sure that like it like actually gets talked about at the meeting, right? Like what happens if he gets sick or something? Ugh, right? And so it's like, okay, I guess, we're winging it, but you know what? Let's try it, right? Um, and so, anyways, he's been super instrumental in really helping me get through this. Um, and so he is going to also be helping me work through that process, which is incredibly helpful. I see Sean put a comment. Yeah, what a way to do your first one. Amen, man. Amen. And yeah, very cool. The gentleman has been super nice. My plan is that he will help me list the subdivide on the back end, right? So he is making commission from this original sale, and he is making commission on the 5 parcels now that I'm gonna go out and sell. So he wants to see it go through. Yeah, Dean's laughing.
100%.
Yeah, he definitely wants to see this go
Yeah.
through, right? Because what
He's your
he's looking
best
at
friend.
is, yeah, right. He's looking at a huge win, right? And so, and work, yes. Win, yes. Does he help a seller? Yes, he does. Does he help me? Yes, he does, right? And he gets compensated on both ends for it. So in this case, the seller or the agent was super, super helpful. Um, I would not call that like a common experience, I would say. I'd say most agents either don't have any idea or they'll try and mess it up or whatever that may be. Did I get lucky on this one? Yeah, potentially, but I think also a lot of that too is just building relationships with those people. I probably have had, and I probably have talked to that agent probably 15 hours on the phone total. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the first hearing yet, to the first meeting yet, right? And so it's just one of those where, you know, talk, build that rapport, and all of a sudden now he's like, oh yeah, do you need that acreage mowed too? I can probably mow it for you. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, that'd be amazing. Like, I'll pay you for mowing. He's like, oh, well, we'll see. Like he's willing to help out because we built that rapport back and forth and had those conversations and talked about those kind of things. So I would say that was very, very lucky that I had that, which is awesome. The other piece of it too is that I'm like 100% looking for other subdivides in that area where I can have him help me through that as well. Because yeah, because when you find something like that, you find a unicorn, you want to make sure you hold on to it and help out. So just my personal opinion, but hopefully that kind of helps. So like I am having somebody very much like hold my hand through this. However, I am also too doing a lot of prep work, a lot of research, and a lot of everything to make sure that I'm dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's. Yeah. Great question though. Does that fully answer it now? Maybe a little bit better. Okay. Awesome. Cool. All right. Cynthia, you ready? Let's get you on here. Does this look like it? Oh, you're muted here, Cynthia.
I haven't gotten to the picture. The way I found it was unusual.
Okay.
And
Talk to me. Give me the
I
story
was
behind
I
it.
was doing some research and then it popped up. And when it popped up, I'm like, okay, let me do a little research on it. And as I started researching it through AI, I said, wow, this is something. So I kept on asking questions upon questions upon questions upon questions and
Mm-hmm.
getting the answers. And so then after I got all the questions, a large number of questions answered regarding, subdivision, all kinds of, that's in the report. So
Mm-hmm.
after I got finished getting all the answers, I said, please prepare me a a presentation for an investor.
Mm-hmm.
And so it prepared the presentation for the investor. And then I asked some more questions. And that's how I came up with the report I gave you.
Okay. Do you mind if I share the report here? Some people can see this and we can kind of go through it.
Um,
Is that
okay.
okay or no? I mean, you tell me if it's not okay, that's totally fine. We can kind of talk and
Um,
ad lib off of it.
um, I trust everyone.
It's up to you. It's up to you, Cynthia. If you don't want to, there's zero pressure to do that. I
Don't
can kind
honor.
of.
I won't take any information off the call.
All right, everyone,
Yeah,
raise your right hand.
okay.
That's honored. You won't take anything.
Okay.
Jeff, do I see your right
Okay.
hand? There he
Yeah.
is. All right.
Okay.
Deal. All right. Cool. Are you okay with that, Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me share that. Okay. Can you guys see that okay? Oop. Is it really small or can you guys see that all right?
It's kind of small for me.
Is that better?
I'll enlarge it, but I have it in front of me anyway.
All right. Cool. So let's see what we got here. Commercial land. Is it zone commercial?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But apparently, yeah, it's zone commercial.
Zone commercial with absolutely nothing around it. Interesting. All right.
That's what it said. So I
Okay.
just went in and started to just have AI answer all my questions.
Okay. Cool. So let's see what it has here. Velocity arbitrage. So 89 days. Median is 142 days. So a little bit slower to move things. Supply.
But it says that for the smaller acreage, it's 61 to 102
Yep. Why is that?
because it's smaller and it'll move faster.
Well, why does smaller land move faster?
It opens up the market with a more diverse buyers.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yep. So what happens is it tends to shrink the price goes down, right? Even though, the price goes down and so it opens it up to more potential buyers.
Hmm.
Yep, 100%. So that's pretty common for once you drop it into smaller acreage
Hmm.
for it to be able to now all of a sudden have a shorter days on market because more buyers now can potentially afford it versus, you look at this, right? $1.3 million. You look at that, okay, great. However, how many people can afford $1.3 million that a bank won't loan on it?
Hmm.
Not many people. Right? But if you chop this up and it's maybe $100,000, a lot more people have $100,000 sitting around than $1.3 million sitting around,
Hmm.
right? I'm just making up arbitrary numbers. I don't know what it is, but um,
Um, I think at the top, that's the exit on it, I felt.
Up here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, very healthy if that's accurate. Let's see what they have here. Liquidate high utility asset, 4 acres. Phase 2 ribbon split. The raw acreage. Community dock approval. Awesome. Okay. Wow, they're thinking this is worth a lot. Okay. All right. So let's see what it is thinking about. And how many lots are they putting into this? Let's just see here. Well, we'll walk through it here. Lot 1, homestead, 2 acres is move-in ready. Let's see here. Okay, so it looks like there's a homestead over here. And so it looks like that would be kind of what they're projecting to be 380 to 420. They have a marine base camp. Shop and 3. Okay. Marine base camp. Is that maybe this over here, maybe? Or maybe one of these? All right. Did you know, is that marine base camp where they're looking at that base camp here? Is that, I just realized you guys can't see the map of what I'm pointing at, can you?
So I haven't
That didn't do me a whole lot of good. Hold on one second. Let me put these side by side. Hold on. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Can you guys see this now? Can you see both? The
Yes.
land? Okay, cool. All right. So let's see here. So it looks like lot 1, the homestead. Looks like this area is maybe the homestead.
um
And then this maybe is the marine area here. State boat ramp. Okay. I'm assuming this is that area. That 40 by 50. It has to be this guy. All right. So it looks like that potentially is kind of like the marine base camp area. So essentially what they're thinking is you split this off. So this section of it would be its own cash out. And then you'd have this section of it, which is this house, and that would be its own cash out as well.
'cause it has RV parks. It has 3 RV space for RVs
Spaces. Yep.
and boathouse. That's
Yep. That's on that boathouse, right? So that I believe is this piece right here. So there must be 3 RV hookups somewhere in here,
mhm.
I'm assuming. Um, okay, and then like let's see what they say about the ribbon split. All right, so essentially we have this little section of land. Here we'll get fancy with it. So here is your marine split. 2 acres. Where are they getting this 2 acres from? All right. Well, we're going to call it that. And then we're going to say this is your homestead site, which is what? Maybe that's the 2 acres. Interesting. Okay. And then let's see here. Long, narrow ribbon layout stretching directly from this highway. All right. All the way down to the walk down shoreline. Oh, so I think they're calling it like, they're doing like something like this kind of deal. Interesting.
Well, this is how AI split it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and that's totally fine. I'm just trying to figure out, let's see here. How many, it didn't say how many lots. Am I missing? Every single lot is designed, but then it doesn't tell me how many lots it
Let
has.
me let me go in and check and see how many lots.
I love AI. Just make it super easy. Deploy 380,000 of equity, close on asset, execute site survey, and submit a 6 lot. Oh, here we go. 6 lot ribbon split. Okay, so it's saying 6 lots. So I wonder if that's the minor spot in here. I just love how like they make it sound so easy. Deploy the capital, get the lots. It'll be fine. All right. All right. So let's see here. If I go something like this, because it sounds like they were kind of thinking something similar to like this. Can you, Cynthia, can you go in there in that same chat that you built this out on? Can you
Mm-hmm.
ask them to build out a map of how they
Okay.
would split this out?
Yes, let's see. Okay.
I'm really curious to see how they decide to split this out. I'm taking a total guess here as to what they, based off of what they were describing. But this clearly isn't it.
Okay, one sec. I have so many. Um,
What do you guys think here? Is that kind of like that when I see ribbon split? That's kind of what I am looking at. But I'm not really sure.
one second.
I think it makes most sense doing it that way. Um, does does ribbon ever go the other way, or is it
Like
always
across.
just on road? Yeah, because it
Well,
makes it. This is the obvious way I would assume because of the road frontage. So I
yeah.
just don't know if
Mhm.
ribbon means multiple things.
Every lot is designed a long, narrow ribbon layout. And I wonder if ribbon means like it's curved. I wonder if maybe that's what that means.
Okay. Okay.
I think the way you have it is right because it
Is
just
you want
says
to show a map
Yeah.
of the
Hey, Sam, I just chat GPT'd it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says that a ribbon split, also called strip subdivision, a way of dividing a large tract of raw land into several long, narrow parcels that all have frontage on existing public road.
Yeah. Okay.
So the way you have it looks to be correct.
Yeah, so it looks like okay, they call them ribbon. Okay, so I guess I've heard them called cigarette lots, where they're like very small road frontage and then it just goes back a really long ways. And so they look like a stack of like cigarettes. Yeah.
And we have an area here in Naples like that, and we call them Band-Aid lots. It's
Band-Aid
like a little,
lots.
like, yeah, little,
Yep.
Here's let me see. I was still trying to find a report. I didn't pull it up, but here's what they said. 1 second. Well, it's not showing. It's not showing it.
Mm,
Okay, it's not showing it.
yeah.
But it's like you're right. It looks like cigar, like a square, just like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so here you go. I bet this is probably how they're getting that 2 acres. But then how do they get 4 here? So they must be 2 acres. So they're like chopping this sucker way down.
Look at the lot to the right of it. I mean, it has the same kind of ribbon lots on that other parcel, just up to the right.
Like here?
Yeah, I'm guessing they did the same kind of a divide
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah. And then obviously you can see the
You get that roadway where they're all touching.
mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. So if we go something like that, do you know how many lots this can go into?
Are you asking me, Sam?
Yeah.
Do I know how many?
Like, can it go from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or?
Um, I think it's in the report too.
Well,
If
it
you
said 6 lots, but I'm not,
no,
I'm
but
just,
then it
I'm
goes
trying to
in
double
and
check it.
it
Go ahead.
tells the regulations. I think it's unrestricted.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And what I said is I wanted to do the easiest way without without hassles.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, wonder if you could go something like this, right? And then you can, one, two, three, four, five, six. So here's 6. Let me check and see if, uh, okay, so it looks like the shoreline just stops right there then. Okay. So essentially what this one is kind of saying is I think it's trying to build out something similar to like this.
Mhm.
And then once you get those, that ribbon split, then you can look at it here with the community boat dock, the multiplier. So essentially, it looks like getting a community dock in on the lake would be like the big multiplier of it, is what they're trying to say. Um, 5 acre lots. So essentially, then you get, say you get a boat dock here and it's a community boat dock, and then you'd be able to potentially sell more as a deeded boat slip right. 30 to 50,000 pure profit per lot. Interesting. Wow, so they're really counting on that to make some big moves on it. So they're planning on that for 180K minimum. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, what questions, now that we kind of took a look at it, we're all kind of familiar with it. What questions or where's your hang up on this, Cynthia, or what do you need
There,
help with on it?
there's not, I was basically looking at it at regarding the profitability
Mm-hmm.
um, and for a purchase, either, basically for you or someone else who's interested in purchasing the land.
Okay. Let's take a look at this here. So let's run comps on, let's run comps in the area. So let's check it out. Then we'll run comps in the area. And that will give us a better idea of what the price point might be.
And it was saying that because it's more level and it doesn't have the bluffs that other
Do this again.
lots have, it
Uh-huh.
makes it more profitable.
Because of the flatness of it, if you will.
Yes, the flatness of it.
Okay.
And that when you subdivide the house, you can sell that. And then when you subdivide the acreage that has the RV and the boat
Mm-hmm.
house, that there is a demand for land for for people who want to put their RVs
Sure.
on, and also to be able to stir the boats.
Okay. All right. So first thing that we want to do, all right. So this boat dock arbitrage is purely pro forma, right? So,
Yes, but the first two, it,
yep. No, I understand. So phase three here, right? I just want to lay this out that like this is purely pro forma and that you
mhm,
can't buy based off of the potential profit that you'll make here,
okay.
right? So if they're thinking 30 to 50,000, right? They're thinking of 180 to $300,000 of pure profit just in that,
Mhm,
right? So we need to take a look and essentially, I don't want to say call it like take it off of the profits, but essentially we need to take it off of the profits,
mhm,
right? Because projected net profit is very different versus if you get that versus if you don't, right? That's a
mhm,
$300,000 swing. That's gonna either make that could make or break the project on its own,
okay.
right? So we need to just take that off the table for now. And let's look at these cash out. Let's look at how much just the subdivide would be worth, right? Because a majority of the value here is that subdivide portion of it. Right?
Yes.
So let's check and make sure that is accurate in what we're approximately going to get per acre, because I think the 55 to 65,000 per acre is high.
Mhm,
I think that's really high. So let's take a look here. All right. So if we're going to look for waterfront, and here's like a perfect example, because this, ooh, is this a little like bunker? You guys seeing that?
mhm,
Got a little bunker in here. That'll be interesting.
mhm.
Going down there. Anyone else want to like go down there real quick and just like
Mhm.
take a peek and see what's down there? I mean, you can't tell me that there isn't something really good. Look how rusted out that door is. That is amazing. All right. So it looks like this is on here. Let's see if it shows. It's on lakefront. Covered natural beauty. Okay, cool. So look at all this is already in here. So two septic systems, buried propane tank, pro and con. We'll get to that later. Electrical, rural water, private RV hookup, existing storm shelter and storage building, which is obviously what that little bunker is. Um, cool. And it's 2 lots. And it is this one, which has access to the lake, I would assume. All right. So it looks like it's this lot has access to the lake. Actually, might be both. So 6 acres, 170,000. 170 divided by 6, that is 28,000 per acre. So when we look at it, a little bit different than that number, but I would say this would be like a really good comp. The main reason being is because it is lakefront.
Is it on
And
the same side of the lake?
yeah, it's right next to it.
Oh,
It's this parcel right here. So here's the parcel that we were looking at. It was this parcel right here.
and is that the road? Does it have the same frontage?
It comes off of this Lakewood Drive that comes up here.
Okay.
Yep, so it kind of comes up off this Lakewood Drive. So I would call this a pretty dang good comp. It is not off the main highway, but that's a pro and a con, depending on the buyer, right? But I would say though that this is probably a really good comp, excuse me, and it was sold in February of this year. So
Okay.
probably your best comp that we're gonna get, because I mean, our parcel's right here, it is right there. But let's see what else we have here. Of course, that's not gonna tell me. And that's a vacation rental with the different views. That's 5 acres on the lakefront. I would, because this lakefront doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of comps, especially not sold recently. We can go out 36 months, but even that doesn't help us. So honestly, I would just take this and be like, okay, that's what I'm gonna get. 28,000 per acre. So that would be my comp on it. So let's take a look here. How many acres is this total?
36.
36. All right. So your total estimated value based off that, and that's if it sells at that same market price. Your total estimated value is 1,020,000.
So it's not even worth,
Well, it's a long ways off from this number, right?
yes.
Yeah. So that's if we just took all of this acreage and just straight blanket, this is the cost of it. Now you have a house and a marine house right here that is going to add value, right? If this is high, my guess is that these are probably also very high. Just taking a guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But let's do this. 6.81 plus 8.03 plus 8.04. I'm just taking all these plus 7.2 is 30 acres. So you're at 30.08 acres. 23. And let's say we got 28. We'll say 28,000. All right, so 30 times 28,000. That's $848 for just these 4 parcels. If we add in these two, right? My guess is that a metal building and 2 acres is probably not going to go for 250. Just taking a guess there. I'd imagine that it's probably closer to like the 150-ish mark. So let's add 150. And then this house, 380 to 420. I don't know how much it's worth, but let's just say it's worth 350,000. And that gives you a total of 1.34 million.
Okay.
It's pretty much where it's at, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to play Debbie Downer, but I also too want to like this is how I analyze these, and that's why like these are so dang challenging to find sometimes because finding a parcel that actually works, you're like, oh my God, I found one. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, wait a minute, this actually works. I went in expecting that, that first subdivide would take me months to find. Because some people do two or three of these subdivide projects just like this. That's all they do for a whole year. They just do two or three of these and call it good, right? And it takes them that long sometimes to find them. But this piece of it, right? The retail value is probably 1.34, 1.35 is probably the retail value of this.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you need to back out, right, for your investor costs and holding costs and all your other costs associated with subdividing, surveyors, soil testing, any sort of county restrictions or regulations, um, you would have to back off that price point quite a bit. You'd probably have to be
Okay.
around like 740,000
Okay.
purchase price.
So you would need seven, and it needs to be 740?
Roughly in order for it to make a little bit more financial sense, just based off of like rough math. And that would be because if you take, I'm going, so if you go, let's see here. How I arrived at that number was I took the 1.34 million that we had and
Mm-hmm.
roughly gave it about 55%. So times 0.55. That gets me 737,000.
Okay.
That would give you enough buffer to go out and be able to do this, right?
That's so
Yeah. Yeah, because finding somebody who's going to throw $380,000 into it right away, if it truly made this much, no problem. No problem. If I if I if these were true numbers, I'd be like, yeah, we're just all going to take this down, Cynthia. Let's talk later. Um, right?
Yeah.
But uh, but unfortunately, it doesn't because that would be it's just AI, in order to be able to train it to pull all these comps, you have to be super strict on it, and it does take a little bit of time. I would recommend if you're really interested in this piece of it, give it the feedback that I just gave you and say, "Hey, this is a good first pass. Where did you find your projected values for these?"
Okay.
Right? And see what it pulls up. Then I'll give you I'm going to post this link here. I'll drop it in the chat for you so you can save it and you can say, well, this is the one that I found that I think it's right next to the property and this is its closest comp.
Okay. One sec.
And so essentially what you'll do is you can start to train it.
Mm-hmm.
You can start to train it and say, hey, this is actually what it's worth, right? So like when we're looking at it, let's make sure that we're looking at it through that scope, right? Using something that it's actually similar to like being worth. If that makes sense.
So that gives me a little more understanding on what other questions and just going in myself to get the comps.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like AI is good, must verify, right? For sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verify as much as you can on it. And when you start looking at parcels like this, like, yeah, you're hitting like the big thing, right, is that it has a lot of road frontage on it. Check.
Mhm.
That's certainly what we need. It sounds like the county is able to subdivide. Check, check, right? Now you have two checks, right? The next piece of it is, does it pencil, right? How many lots can we split it into and then does it pencil, right?
Mhm.
Will you actually be able, as an investor, to be able to make money off of it, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what you're trying to accomplish.
Mhm.
Or in the words of Sean, it's not a charity. So from the other day. So that's kind of like where I would look at this and look at kind of where you want to go from there.
Okay.
But yeah, I love this though, and I hope I didn't like crush your dreams, but hopefully that gives you a lot of like really
No,
good
I mean
feedback.
it's a trial and error, and
Yeah.
you have to get out and try. And now I know what else I need to look for.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Sweet.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
yeah, absolutely. Sean, you had a question too. What was it? Let me look in the chat here.
It was essentially just having you go into like talk with the city or the county or whatever you did in regards to the lot split and having that conversation versus a phone call. I
Hmm.
don't know if I'm the only one here, but I'm in Southern California and I'm doing land all over. I'm not going to be flying to Alaska to talk about a lot split. But I also want to
Yeah.
understand the nuances a little bit better. Um, and it sounds to me like if you're going to do that, you're going to have some kind of boots on the ground to go in and have these discussions with a board or
Maybe,
something along.
maybe, right? So like
Okay.
I know some people, let me back up. What I did was I just called. I don't live in Indiana. I've never been to this county. I will soon, but I've never been to this county, right? And so I just picked up the phone and called them and started talking and asking questions and just being super friendly on the phone and like building up some of that rapport with some of the planning and zoning, right? And so then they're familiar with what we're working on and everything like that. And so that's kind of how I did it. Now, there are some people who will only do things locally to them, right? And so because they want to be able to go walk in, talk with a zoning person, whatever that may be, walk through step by step on it or whatever that may be. And then you have people on the opposite end of the spectrum where they've never been to the county and it's just county approval and they send somebody else in to go and do that stuff, right? So
Okay.
you can divide and conquer however you desire. I do think that there are pros and cons to each, right? If you're not working locally and you want to go in and talk with them, like that's going to be probably pretty cost prohibitive at some point in time. Um, but that will be one thing too that when I go for my in-person meeting, which I think is August 11th, if I believe that's correct. August 11th. Yes, August 11th. So when I go in for that meeting, I'm actually going to go by the planning and county, like zoning committee. I'm going to go and talk with I'm going to go meet the people in person and shake hands with them, right? So to build a further relationship. So then if I do end up doing more deals in this county, they know me, I know them, right? It's a face to face kind of thing, right? So I'm going to take every opportunity I can to try and meet with those people and connect with those people as well.
Put them on your Christmas
Some,
card list.
what's that?
I said just put them on your Christmas card
That's right.
list.
Put them on the
Yeah.
Christmas card list, baby. Let's go. Um, but yeah, so I would say that's kind of like how I look at it is, you don't have to be there. One thing that might happen would be that you have a county that requires a meeting like what I am running into. And so some people are willing to like go there and some people are not. I talked with another person who does land and they're like, "Oh, you're going to go to that meeting? Why don't you just send somebody?" I mean, I could, right? I mean, the agent who's on the listing literally said he would go and represent me there. I mean, I could. right? But also too, if I don't show up, how much more likely is that agent like, yes, we talked about how it's a win-win, right? He's gonna get commission on this one plus all the commissions on all the other ones potentially, right? So like that could be a win. But if he's not money motivated, because not all agents, especially older agents, are money motivated. In our conversation back and forth, he said, I'll represent you in the meetings. And also, too, I will, I'm happy to, help you out with the contract and get the contract all written. He goes, just one thing though. And I'm like, sure, what do you got? He's like, I got to meet you and shake your hand.
Ah,
Okay, fine. Right? Deal. Right? So there are agents, and that's like the classic like land space, right? Like they're more likely to shake, like if you go there and like shake their hand, they're more likely to do a lot more for you. And so in this case, he was like, if you like, I'm willing to do all this stuff, XYZ, right? We had multiple conversations, XYZ. You'll do this, I'll do that, right? And here's how you want to do this, here's how you want to do that. And he's giving me all these hints and tips. And he's like, yeah, I can represent you. I was in the committee, blah, blah, blah. I know how to do this and that. He's like, just one thing though, you know, I want to shake your hand before the deal closes in order to make the deal close. I'm like, okay, done. Right. So in this case, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm either getting a flight out there and renting a car or driving my car out there or whatever that may be to go and meet him. So I think you have to weigh which way you want to do it, right? For me, I guess that's the cost of business, right? That's the cost of potentially making money off of a subdivide. That's why also too, like the profit margin also too is so important to have in there to make sure that you have that profit margin where you can, excuse me, go do that if you need to.
from your experience talking to other people that are like, hey, why are you even going in there? Um, with their model, like who are the people that you would want to, I guess, hire to go and have that conversation for you? And what is the cost in general for that to be a case? I
Yeah.
guess that helps consider, like how dirty your hands are gonna get versus how much money it's gonna cost,
Right.
to weigh
Right.
out
Right.
the real options.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, normally if it's a good land agent or land broker, they will probably have some sort of fee for it. Maybe 200 bucks, 500 bucks, just depends on what it is. The surveyor, who I also hired, also said that he could represent me $300 per meeting.
Okay.
So, I mean, $300, is that a hell of a lot cheaper than like,
Airfare and hotel and car
yes,
rental,
yes,
100%.
1000%, right?
And opportunities you may be missing while traveling.
Right. The other piece of it too, right, is that, you look at that, right, as opportunity costs, right? My mindset is I'm building relationships in the future. So now I can go and whenever I call up that surveyor, he's more likely to answer my call because he's also on my checklist of people I'm going to go shake hands with when I
Hmm.
go to that meeting,
Yeah.
right? So I'm building it more long term, right? If it's out in the middle of nowhere and you have no interest in doing more land out there, right? And the agent is just not being great or what, or, like whatever that may be, and you just want to get in, get out, well, then maybe that's an option, right? And so maybe you do just hire the surveyor for 300 bucks and call it good. I don't know. But in my mind, I'm gonna shake hands, build more relationships, and also to learn along the way as well, right? What is working, what is not, right? Like, how do these meetings go? How does that go, right? And I have one meeting in August and then another meeting in September, right? And then as long as both those clear, then it gets recorded middle of October, right?
Mhm.
So if we can do that, great, right? Now, and I've already decided, yeah, I want to do more business in this county because this agent is just a rock star. So like I want to do more business here. So like I'm gonna go and build those relationships. Same with the soil scientist, right? I'll go meet her, shake her hand in there, and like, and that's another thing too, right? I've had like 3 or 4 phone calls with the soil scientist because I'm like, hey, I'm interested in getting a soil test or perk test. Right now, what do I need to like? What's the steps for it? What's your process? Okay, great. Hey, by the way, this is what I'm trying to do with the land, and I haven't been able to do this. And so now all of a sudden I need to, maybe bump back, like what's your availability look like? And just like being just clear in communication of what I'm trying to do and like my timelines. And now she knows, she's like, hey, I know, you need the soil test by this date. That means that I need to take samples by this date. Is that going to be an issue? No, absolutely not. Okay, great. Awesome. Let's do it. So essentially, my opinion is yes, it will cost probably double or triple the $300 to be represented there. But for me, it's worth it for the learning experience, to build the relationships, and also to just to like see the parcel, see the land, see how that all that is moving, right? See like what that will look like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it sounds like you, especially because you're going to be staying in that area. You know what I mean? It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, 100%. And my mind, like, maybe the broker will, maybe that agent will bring me more deals off market because he's lived there forever. So he knows everyone. He might be like, hey, you want to rinse and repeat and like run it back? Want to do another one? Be like, yeah, actually I do. Let's do it. Kind of thing. So
Probably knows a lot of people that might be selling soon, especially when
yeah,
you're older.
yeah. He's been there. Done real estate for 40 years in that area. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he knows a few people in the
Yeah,
area. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Does that kind of answer the question a little bit?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because it puts it more into perspective, like too. Because I mean, I don't know what I don't know. I haven't done one of these. You know what I mean? So I'm curious on
Yeah.
like what the actual costs are going to be, what that looks like,
Mhm.
and then kind of going through the motions. I really do like that you're more hands-on and going to be going doing that kind of stuff because I think that makes all the difference in the world when it is. But also just on the other side of the coin, just wanting to know like, hey, like, who is it that you would call? Because I don't know. I'll be like, or how much would that cost me to do that? Yeah, like ChatGPT or Claude, what do I do?
Help,
Like,
help,
yeah,
SOS.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would say,
just stuff like that.
yeah, I would say, in terms of people for representation, it's either going to be like the agent if it's on market. If it's off market, it's probably going to be a surveyor, potentially a soil scientist, potentially,
hmm
or, you might find another contact that the surveyor or soil scientist might know, right?
hmm
Or maybe the county would know, but I'm not sure. You'd have to kind of feel that out based on how the county feels about you subdividing some land in there,
Yeah,
about, if they know somebody who would be beneficial or not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. I'm excited for you. I'm happy to
Yeah.
follow along on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, hopefully all you guys are. I know I've talked about it plenty, but yeah, I mean, once it closes, I mean, I'll pull back the curtain on everything and and obviously too, as we go, I'll tell you how all the meetings went and how all that goes along too. I'm happy to share as well, because I'm sure I'll find some more lessons that I'll learn and some things where I was like, yeah, that was really dumb. Yeah, that was really smart though of me of doing this, so.
Well, if they do an online version, like so when you go and you have your speech or
Mhm.
your I don't know if you want to call it a speech, but like, hey, here, plead my case,
Presentation.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know. I think that would be a cool thing to be able to just kind of like shoot the link out and then we can
Yeah.
kind of just follow along. And then it's not like you just going back and like telling us about the experience. If there's an
Right.
opportunity for
See
us
it
to
too.
follow along,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like it's like, go Sam, go, you know?
You got it. You got it. Yelling through
Yeah.
the screen. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's August 11th at 6:30, I believe. Let me make sure. Make sure I got it, my times right. And see here,
Can you
this is
share
why
the
you.
county or is that still quiet too?
What's that?
Can oh So can you share the county, or is that still not, mom's the word on that? I'll wait. I just was wondering,
How
like,
much
maybe
do
I
I
could
trust you guys?
find.
No, it's totally fine.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
it's Newton
Okay.
County, Indiana. August 11th at 6:30 p.m. So we'll see. I'm not sure if these are like streamed or not, because it isn't a public hearing. It isn't a public like thing. It's just it'll be myself and whoever else is trying to do projects behind closed doors. Like the public, I'm sure you can sit in on it, but you can't say anything, or you can't, like the public can't say anything or do anything about it, right? Um, in this case. So it's more about like what the committee wants, if you will. Slash, like this first meeting is really like, do you check all the boxes in order for this to actually go through? That's what that first meeting is. And then the secondary meeting is on what is it? August 11th, and then third Tuesday in September, September 15th at 6 p.m. is my other meeting. So, and that is with the planning committee, and they're the people who kind of give the, excuse me, who give like the final like stamp of approval. And then if that happens, then it gets recorded, and then we'll close. So, yeah. So crossing my fingers, it all goes through. Otherwise, then I guess I could just get a really expensive lesson. So we'll we'll figure it out. But
I have
I'm trying
faith.
to do,
I have all the faith.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to do all my due diligence up front and trying to plan for all circumstances and cases. And like I said, like I got really lucky with an awesome agent out there who's able to like help me with this, if that makes sense. Who's just been awesome to like work with and super helpful. So that has been a huge perk that he was on the planning committee before and knows what needs to be done and all that stuff in that county. So literally he was on that board that I'm going to present to.
Hopefully he
Pretty
was
exciting.
liked and he didn't and he left on his own.
Yeah. He did. He did. He
It's like,
did.
Bill, you're back. What are you doing here?
What? I thought we banned you from in here. I thought you weren't allowed back in this building. What's going on? No. No, it's all good. The previous owner who bought it 2 years ago bought it um essentially like with a different plan to do like some commercial buildings on it because of that like weird commercial 285 feet, and then didn't quite go through, but then it had to go through. It's kind of a long, weird story on it, but anyways, he he being the agent who's on it helped in that transaction, and then obviously that didn't go through, and so now he's listing it again. And yeah, and he even told him, he's like, dude, if you put in like this much money, you can get way more for it. And the guy who owns it is an investor. He owns 30 something properties, and he's just like, just sell it. He's like, I'll make a little profit on it. That's all I care about. Just give me my money back and then some. And if another investor comes in and wants to put in some money and make more money off of it, I'm cool with that too. So I really had a lot of cards like fall in my right direction in order to be able to do this, if I'm being totally honest. So I'm just hoping it'll pan out. If not, I've had a lot of really good lessons about it so far too. So yeah, love it. Cool. Does anyone else have any more questions? Or we'll wrap up. I know we've gone long again. Bueller, anyone?
No, this has been good, Sam. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We just got one more thing to do. For my regulars, you know what that is. But Christina and Silvio, if you guys can turn on your cameras if you have the ability to, we got to take a lovely little screenshot again of everyone. Proof that it happened. Proof that it happened. So I don't know, Christine, if you're able to or not. Otherwise, I won't call you out too much. There she is. She's there. Perfect. Give me 1 second. Let me get all that up. Make you guys as big as I can. All right, everyone, smile. Love it. Cool. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Yes. Thank you guys. I will
Thanks,
see you
Sam.
guys Friday morning.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, and real quick too, one thing for those who were asking about the cold calling, I have that. I am planning on rolling that out this afternoon.
Okay.
So if you guys are interested, let me know. I know I have a few of you on the docket there to go send that out to. But if anyone's interested in that, some cold calling for leads, and then wanting to help through the leads, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Cool.
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 What time is that
Nice.
today?
Thanks, Sam.
What
sorry?
time is that today, Sam?
I'll roll that out via email. So if you're interested,
Okay.
just shoot me an email. And I'd be happy to help. Think of it almost like as kind of like the All Abilities Challenge Volume 2. But just for land. So I'll have a list where you can essentially a skip trace list where you can call. All the leads right now, they're all in North Carolina. And then once you call them, then you set up an appointment or get as far as you can. And then happy to like help for comps and negotiating prices or however you guys want to and need help. I'm happy to help. So my goal really with that is just to help you guys get your first deal.
Fantastic.
Cool. Thanks.
Sound good?
Yep.
Good.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
I will
Thanks,
see you
Sam.
guys on Friday then.
Thanks, Sam.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Right?